Hi, Mimi.
Hey, Nick.
Hey,
Are you Eddie today?
well, I have the master link.
Got it.
Yes.
I didn't realize y'all lived. Do you and Eddie live together or no?
Yeah, he rents a room for me upstairs. He's my roommate. So I'm always around Zoom calls because he's on them all day long.
Are you learning by osmosis then?
Yep. Trying to.
Yeah. Yeah. Yesterday, I was just like, I was so many, and I was like, I couldn't keep up anymore.
I know. I'm with you.
A lot. Break.
Hey, Tommy.
Tiger King. Hi, Tommy.
Hi, Mimi.
I started screen recording because I got zoomed out for a little bit. So I used it on my iPad.
Yeah.
And I started screen recording meetings and going back to it later because it just became too much.
Yeah. I hear you.
I had legal update 1 and 2 on Zoom. Talk about boring.
I've got to do that at the end of the month.
Good luck.
That's all day on Zoom, like 8 to 5. Oof.
I was already scheduled to go in before all of this, so.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna mute
myself. Do you guys want to start right at 1? Keep us moving along pretty quickly. Are you good with that, Tommy? Yep. Okay. You're on mute. You want to unmute you?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, you click it. There you go.
There we go. Okay, I'm on.
All right, cool. So it is right at 1 o'clock. So Tommy and I are going to help facilitate this class. So it is learning about the consumer app, the Keller Williams consumer app. So Tommy and I are going to be jumping in back and forth. I'm probably going to be sharing my screen just to walk through it, and then also sharing my iPhone when we go through the actual consumer app. So with that, we're just going to jump in to, let me share my screen, and you may have to bear with me just to make sure everything works right. Okay. So now this thing's up here. How do I get it to move? I can't see anything. There it goes. All right. So the first thing you want to do when you are starting to use your app is we need to prepare the app for you to be able to share it with the consumer. So there's a couple of things that you need to do. How you do that is go to Command, and then on the left-hand side, the applet. And if you have questions, just please type it in the chat feature, and then we'll go back to questions also. But back in Command, on the very bottom left, the very last one on the bottom is Consumer. So if you click on that, this is going to take you to the settings for the consumer app. Come on. Has anybody's internet been really kind of slow the past few days? Just me?
No.
Okay. Everybody's on. Okay, so we're on this page. What you need to do is click on Site and App Settings. That's kind of in the top right. So we'll click there. And then from here, you want to click on URLs. So this is where you have your URLs for this app.kw.com/KW16XRYN. This is the code that's specific to me. So your code's going to look different. Now, this is the code that you want to use in marketing. You can put it on your signature line in your email. You can put it on postcards. You can create an entirely different URL that could be Tommy Thompson's app or Tommy's real estate app, whatever, and then you can forward that to this URL. Now that would be an entirely different class, or if you have questions on how to do that, reach out to me. We won't get into that. But this is when people click on this URL, it's going to take them to download your app. Or another option below that is the app text code. So again, on postcards or marketing or flyers or whatever, if they text this code to the number 8778, it's going to do the same thing. So those are the first two ways on how to share the app. And then I'm going to show you another third way once we get into the app itself. Are there any questions on that? Pretty straightforward. I can't tell if there's any chats. Hold on. Oh, okay, we're good. Okay. So let me get into.
Can you hear me?
Oh, yes, go ahead.
So if I bring this up on command, is this going to have my unique code in there already, or do I have to go find that code? I know
No, yours will be right in here. It'll be unique to you.
Okay.
Yeah, everybody will be different right there.
Okay, and so I'm assuming that what you will get to, and tell me if I'm assuming too much.
No.
Okay, everybody that already had my app, they got converted, and they're now seeing a screen with a little map with houses on it, right? And it used to say, we're talking about the same map, right? The one that used to say houses nearby for sale, homes nearby for lease.
I honestly do not know. I just know this new app. It may have converted people. I really don't know, Sally.
Well, we had a KW app that we were sharing, and I shared it with hundreds of people, and it changed.
Oh yeah, when it updated, yeah, that's true. Yeah, you're right.
Okay,
Yeah.
so it's no longer branded to me, right?
Yes, it is. Yeah,
It is
because this code was still with this old app too. It was still you.
Okay.
Yeah.
It would be a good time to call them back or contact them to say, hey, have you looked at your app recently?
Oh, I know they have, because they
updated it. Yeah.
They didn't understand because there was no warning. It just converted, and they don't know how to use it now. But okay, that's not your problem.
Okay.
Yeah. And we'll jump into it so you can show them how to use it. It's pretty easy to use. So they probably just need to play around with it, I would imagine.
Okay, thank you.
Absolutely. Okay, so now we need to update your app to make sure everything looks good. And I just want, gosh, this internet is running so slow. Come on. Well, let me try to go back and do this. Okay. So if you click here up top under the consumer, let me do that again for you. So when you're back in the consumer section, up here where it says Guide Builder, click on that. And it may take it a second. Everything's running a little bit slow. On the right-hand side, there's another section that says Site and App Settings. You want to click on that. And then here is where it talks about, down here on the bottom, this hero text. This hero text is kind of like a headliner for your app. So yours may be blank, or it may say something different. I changed mine to say the best real estate search app with Nick Kline. Now you've only got 50 characters, but you want to do something similar to this. I mean, you can change the wording around, but you don't want it to be blank, and you don't want it to be super generic. Like, I would add your name in there somehow, some way. Any questions on that? Okay. And then also on that page with the hero text, when you click on Guide Builder up top, that's another thing you want to click on. You'll have a buyer's guide and a seller's guide. And you want to go in and you want to hit the pencil thing to edit it. So this is what people are seeing on your consumer app. So this is all editable, which is really, really cool. Because the other app didn't allow for that at all. But you want to go in and you want to make sure that this stuff is what you want it to be. Or instead of maybe start your search, it's start your home search, or start your search with Nick Kline or with Sally or whatever. Or it can be something completely different. And I'll show you why this is important once we get into the app. But it's a function within the app the consumer can use to say, okay, the first step was reaching out to Sally and Tommy. I'm going to check mark that. And now we're going to move on to next page, which is getting pre-approved. So it makes sure that your consumer follows along with the steps, and they can do that within their app. So that's a really neat. Any questions on that? No? Okay. The other thing is once you're on the guide builder, see here where it's the guide itself, where it says steps, there's also an introduction. And under introduction, over here on the right-hand side, it has a little message, and it says, Nick, see like the third sentence, Nick will be providing insights at each step. You must go in and change this if your name is not Paul. The standard preset is that name right there is set to Paul. So we have Paul Bush in our office, so Paul is good to go. But like Mimi, you probably want to change that to your name. Or Tom, else is on the card. You definitely want to change that name to your personal name. That's pretty straightforward, right? Now, when you were on Guide Builder, what we just did was the buyer's guide. Now you want to go in and also do the same thing for the seller's guide. I'll quickly touch on that. So the seller's guide is very similar. It has the steps on showing your home, reviewing offers, inspections. Maybe one of the first steps should be preparing your home to sell. So you put a step above showing your home or what have you. All of this is customizable to you. But again, one of the most important things is clicking on that introduction and making sure you choose your name from Paul. Any questions on that?
Yes.
Also,
Eddie, this is Debbie, and I was wondering on the picture that you have under your timeline guide, is that already populated with our photos or our headshots that we have in Command, or do we have to put that in there?
It is auto-populated with your headshot from Command. This one right here?
Yes.
Yes, it sure
Thank
is.
you.
Absolutely.
Thank
you.
Laura, oh, go ahead, Tommy.
If while y'all are doing these guides, if you want to take and personalize these and maybe put the name of your stager in there and their phone number,
Yeah.
you know, say here's the first thing you need to do is contact me, and we're going to contact and so you can make it really personable to these people.
Yeah, that's a great suggestion. Okay. Now, let me get to okay, so I want to make sure that we talk about the smart plans. So you can create a smart plan around the app as another way to advertise the app. So under smart plans, you'll click on smart plans. it'll show, and I've got to move some of these chat boxes around, I apologize. But over on the left, where it says promote my app, the wording's not very good, but promote my app or whatever. So this is a smart plan that you can use for your app. Currently, it's automatically set up for you as an email and then 2 text messages. So if you want to make sure that the smart plan sounds good to you, you want to edit the app and edit the smart plan. And how you do that is, here's just a smart plan. You just scroll to your right until you see the pencil, the edit for the pencil. So when you click on that, the smart plan pops up. So in step 1, day 1, it's going to send an email. So I need to move these chat boxes around some more. Zoom has so many chat boxes when near the host, goodness. Okay. Now let me select it. Sorry, bear with me for 1 second. Oh, that's right. The email, so the email you have to change within the designs. And that's a really good class to learn that. The good thing is for you, I wouldn't worry too much about this email in the smart plan because it's actually a really good email. But what you can change from here within the smart plan is the actual text messages themselves. So let's dive into this for a second. So the first text message that it sends, it says, hey, this is agent first name, agent last name. So this is you. So this, for me, it would say, hey, this is Nick Kline with my team. Did you see that a neighbor listed a home in your area? See, this should be a question mark. So and this is like auto done for you. So you want to go in here and, you know, kind of set this up how you like it to do. It continues on, download my brand new KW app to check it out. I'd probably put an exclamation mark there. So these weird kind of boxes that have these blue weird words with parentheses and dots. What that is it's just inserting your name or your team name or your social app, and you insert those by clicking on this little F thing. So what it says is use merge fields to automate contact with associated subject. So you just click on it and you want to say enter your last name or enter your first name or home anniversary, birthday, stuff like that. There's an entirely different class on how to do smart plans, so I'm not going to spend too much time on this, but I'm sure there's a couple of questions.
I have a question.
Sure.
Okay, so the people that already have my app, who's getting this text message? What controls?
Probably nobody until you actually put them on the smart plan itself.
But if I put all my contacts on it, on the smart plan, I don't remember who has my app and who doesn't have my app. I've been giving it out for years.
I think to Tommy's point, that's a really good reason just to touch base with people right now. Like, hey, how are you doing? Is everything okay? Well, if you're sitting at home, you know, wanting something to do, it might be kind of fun to search on the new app, just looking to see what other houses are priced at. I mean, that may be a terrible example, but at least it's a reason for you to call to see if they're using the app or not. There's not a way to see who has your app like tracked. That's just impossible to do, unfortunately.
Okay.
But it is a good reason to reach out to people to ask them.
And Sally, what I did is I went back and labeled people in my database. I just made a label for them, app or app download, so I can go search by who has it. And you can, if you want to start updating your database by searching by those people, you know who does and does not have it.
And you knew with your hundreds or thousands of people who had that app and who didn't have it?
Well, every time I sent it, I got permission to send it to them. I just labeled them app download.
That's a good idea.
So.
What do you mean every time you got permission to send it to them?
I'm sorry?
I'm not sure what I didn't understood. When you said you got permission to send it to them?
Yeah, well, I mean, I call them up and say, hey, we got this app. And I go through my little spiel about it. I said, I'd really like to ask you to check it out because I value your opinion about it. And will you allow me to text it to you? Because I did it right off my telephone. Basically, all of it came off my phone out of the Kelly app. And so they said, sure. So I sent it to them. And I just labeled them. So I have them all tagged.
What did you say to the ones that said, oh, I already have your app, but it doesn't look the same?
This is I haven't had that. Nobody said that to me yet.
Oh, gosh.
I would say, Sally, that's great. You have the new downloaded app. And this is how you use it.
No, but I had people coming up to me and saying, what happened to your app? It doesn't look anything like it used to. And I really was kind of caught off guard. It was in a social environment.
Well, we just tell them, hey, we've updated this and it will continue to learn and it will start to incorporate AI in it. And even if you want to take it out right there and start walking through some of the features of it, it's much more sophisticated than it was.
Well, that's what I'm hoping to learn today because I want to see that sophistication.
Okay. Sure. Well, if Nick can't show you how to be sophisticated, nobody can.
Go, Nick.
Tommy gets an extra beer out of that comment.
Hey, Nick.
Yes,
Nick,
who's that?
this is Cheryl McCarter.
Hey, Cheryl.
Hey, what did you say you called your downloaded app text? I like what you said. I just logged on and I can't remember what you said. In the download app hero text?
Oh, sure. Let me get to that because I don't remember either. I think it was like download the best real estate app with Nick Kline. Let me double check.
Yeah, I like that.
No, it's not there. It's under site and app settings. The best real estate search app with Nick Kline.
Okay, cool. Thanks.
Absolutely. Okay, so now we've set up the back part of the app and I've shown you the smart plans. And regarding smart plans, Kyle, Paris, and I are doing a Zoom class like this next week just on smart plans. So make sure you attend that class because smart plans has changed a lot and it's allowing you to do a lot more custom stuff right now. So make sure you attend that. Okay, what we're gonna do now is I'm switching over to my actual iPhone and we're gonna walk through the app itself from my iPhone. So bear with me while I set this up. I gotta unplug stuff and plug stuff back in. Yeah.
This is Bonnie, and I just wanted to add in on the question about knowing who's downloaded the app. What I've seen on our end is that if you're in your contact list, on the names, there is an actual little circle with a check mark next to anybody that has a site connection to your app.
Cool. Did not know that.
Like if you scroll through your contacts, and I don't know if I did something to make that happen, but
Can you share your screen right now?
Yeah, let me.
Would you
It's
mind
automatic. I forgot about that. You hear me?
I heard you say you forgot about that.
I said it is automatic. I forgot. It does put that
Yeah, I
check
did
mark.
too.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know where my screen went.
So may I ask a question? Are you talking about your contacts that are in Command? So did you download your contacts from your database into Command somehow, and it just Command knew that who had the app and who didn't have the app?
Yeah, so we have our command synced with our other CRM currently. So any clients that are linked to any of our active agents are automatically synced into Command. So you can see on this first page, it's actually my husband right here, but this little check mark right here is the agent site connection. So as soon as he downloaded the app, within the list of contacts, you can see the check mark with if you hover over it says agent site connection. So from what I can tell, I don't think we did anything other than, anything special to make that happen.
Okay, good. That's great.
Yeah, that's great. Thanks, Bonnie.
No problem.
It's a team effort. That's why I love this office. Okay, so we're gonna jump into my iPhone. So let me make sure I do this right. Hold on 1 second. Come on. Okay, do you guys see my iPhone?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so the KW app is the one on the lower right-hand side, where it just says KW. The one on the left-hand side, where it's Kelly, that also says KW. These are two different apps. So I'm gonna first click on Kelly to show you what I mean. So Kelly is your command that's on your phone. This is not the consumer app. This is your workstation for your phone. So in the beginning, people are kind of confusing. Oh, we'll just go to the Kelly app and take them to our consumers or clients to the Kelly app. That's not what that is. Kelly is your personal, where, see down on the bottom where it has command and it has connect and consumer, like this is coming soon. But here under command, like this is where your contacts are and your insights and all that kind of stuff. So just to show you, there is a difference between Kelly and command. I'm going to get out of Kelly, and now we're going to go into the command consumer app. So the first thing you notice whenever you log on, or the consumer, is that it has these blue lines. Now, this is done because this is how Zillow has their consumer app set up. And Zillow is a multi-billion-dollar company who's done a lot of research on what consumers want. And unfortunately, most of the consumers go to Zillow. So the big plan that KW has and all the money that we've been spending is doing stuff to combat people utilizing Zillow so we can own our own data. So the reason it looks this way is because another company has already paid for all the research on how it should look. And the blue lines are coming off of our third party that we use conjunctively with Keller Williams, which is Nextdoor. So Nextdoor and Keller Williams are working together to decide what exactly is a neighborhood. So if you look on my screen, right in the front, we have Deerfield. So everybody probably knows where Deerfield is. It's just right north of the office. It's a great, lovely neighborhood. But this is how Deerfield on Nextdoor and with Keller Williams communication to them has set up Deerfield neighborhood. And then below that, here's Wellington and Preston Meadows. So hopefully that gives you some insight onto what those blue lines are. They don't mean anything except for what the neighborhoods are. And if you zoom out, the blue lines disappear and all the active listings pop up. Now, see where it's black listings here and then a gray listing, this 465? Let me tap on that. Typically, the gray listing means that it might be a different status than active. And then the black lines just mean that it is active. Or the black, just pure black, means it's active. And then on the map, you can also, the top search bar, where to the right of list, let me click in that. So you can type in an address, you can type in a city, you can search for a different school, or you can type in a zip code. So let me type in the zip code for the office. So that is now outlined all as 75093. And it's got all the active listings within 75093. Then you can just zoom in. I have noticed the school does get a little funky So I went to Marcus High School in Flower Mound. So let's just go over to Flower Mound. So Marcus High School, like sometimes I'd notice it's pulled up and sometimes it hasn't. But again, it's because all of our technologists are spending all their time making this better. So see, the school's a little bit not working today. It was working a couple of weeks ago. So that might be something you may not want to search for. But addresses you can search for, and or click on current locations. So just what's around you, it'll search for. You can also filter by price point, by the amount of beds, the property type. And then if you click on more, it gives you just those options at a much better, like more in depth. Living areas, you know, the square footage size, your built, any of the keywords where you could type in, I don't know, foreclosure or whatever. Price reduced in the last 7 days. I don't know what show hidden listings is. And in fact, whenever I've tried to hit it, it doesn't do anything. Oh, I did it that time. I don't really know what that means. I'm just gonna be honest with you. So any questions on that? It's very, very similar to the old app. It's just maybe laid out much more clearly. But then it's also really similar to how Zillow does their notifications. Any questions on that before we move on?
I have a question. Of course I do, right? So I was trying to follow you and I typed in the address of a listing that I had and it picked it up. Well, then I couldn't figure out how to get back. So I finally got back. Well, now when I type in, like you were doing, say by price point, I can't, it doesn't pull my listing up, or if it does, I certainly can't seem to find it.
Let's see, what is the address? Let's just go for it.
2228 Wimberley.
That was my listing.
See, there you go. Okay, so I brought it up and then I was trying to figure out how to get off that screen. You see how,
Okay.
what's the easiest way? I don't remember how.
So it's challenging to see. It's even challenging to see for me right now. And then right now it's kind of slow, like it's trying to pull up the photos. But the top, see, now I can see it better. There's that arrow key on the top left, that down arrow. You just click that.
Okay, and I think probably what happened, it was slow and
yeah,
I was trying to catch up with where you were. So then I typed in, then I tried to type in 75093 like you did, and it only brought me up 3 properties.
So that might be, so if you have some settings, so let's do 75093.
That's what it did here.
And then now let's change the price. Let's do from 0 to, let's see if there's anything even 250 or lower. I'm gonna guess there may not be. Oh, looks like there's 2. So that might be a reason. There may be a filter that you have on. But what I do love, you'll notice how fast that was, right? Like even let's say 350 or lower, like it filters them really quickly, which is good. So if you take the filters off.
I must have a filter because I'm not getting that screen pop up that you get. When I type in like 75010 is the zip code that the listing that I just gave you is in. And when I type that, it brings me up 3 locations. It shows those 3 locations, but it never brings that map up that you're seeing.
So over here on the far right, where I click on more, it's the top right, it's next to property type, click more. Okay. And then scroll all the way down to the bottom. Well, it may just, you don't even have to scroll. Just hit clear filter where it's the red.
Okay.
And then hit done and see if that does anything.
Well, there it is.
There it is. Yeah.
Good job. I don't know how that filter got there, but thanks for clearing it.
Absolutely. Okay. So let's say you have somebody that wants to go in downtown Dallas, where my business partner Marjorie lives, or just north of it. So that's like a few different zip codes there. It's a few different next door neighborhoods. See the blue? If you don't see blue, you're probably out too far. And then the closer you zoom in is when you'll get the blue. So there's a lot of different neighborhoods right here, but let's say somebody wants to live around Dallas-Fort Worth, and you're like, well, how do I search that? And you can explain it to your client, to your consumer. Over on the right, do you see the draw button and it has a little finger? If you click on the draw button, then you can just use your finger and say, all right, around Dallas-Fort Worth. And now it's going to filter and just search for stuff within what you drew the shape of. So that's pretty straightforward, I would think. You can also, above the finger that's now black, where you hit save, now you can say downtown Dallas, or around that area or whatever. So if you have a relocation client that's coming to town and they're using your app, and they, well, I really like Plano, but I also like Frisco or whatever, they can save their different search apps. Because our area is so spun out, I'm sure you can imagine how useful that would be for them to have their own saved functions. And how you can see the different types of saves that they have is in the very bottom. Hold on, I gotta move my screen up just to make sure you guys can see. Okay, where it says saved, recent collections are what I was just recently saved, but see here it was saved searches. So if your client has Frisco or Dallas or what have you, that's where that would go. I see some chats going on. Let me click on those and see if I can. Well, I can't see anything. Tommy, did the chats, do we have questions in the chat? I can't
hang on. Well, somebody said that the grayed out area, Janice said the grayed out areas means that you have looked at that listing. So all the black ones and all the
got it. Okay.
So, and then Mimi's getting an error on the app. Kim said, I did, then it popped back up.
I don't know what the error is.
And Mimi says, keep hitting retry.
Okay. I'm not sure. Mimi, we may have to talk about that offline.
Can you see it?
Yeah, that happened to Mimi, and then I logged out of it and then logged back in.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll try that.
Now, since this is being worked on all the time, like I wish it was, 100% all the time, but it's getting there. It's very much getting there. But you still want to use the app because there's not like really enough errors to make it a bad experience for anybody. We're just kind of diving in more than what a consumer might use it. Okay, so now we've talked about how to use the map and how to draw something, how to save a saved search, how to go through the different criteria to narrow down the property types. Now we're going to focus on the bottom of the app where it says search, feed, guide, saved, and then you. So search is pretty obvious. That's going to take you to the map on how you're looking for homes. Before I go on, I do want to show you on the very, very top left-hand side where it says list. If you click that, instead of a map, it'll show you a list of homes as well. So I did want to show that before I forgot about it. And that could be used really a lot better if you zoom in closer. You don't want to be the map too large. So then if you're like in Bent Trail and you click on Bent Trail, what's really cool is it tells you features about the different neighborhoods that are next door. So like when you click on the Bent Trail, it's telling you the current stats and the market snapshot of the neighborhood. So like your average days on market, the average price, the square footage, recently sold. And if somebody knows how far back the recently sold goes, that'd be good to know. I don't know how far back it goes. I don't know if it's 90 days or 30 days. I'd imagine if it was just 2 in Bentry, that's probably 30 days because I know more has sold in there. And then what locals say about the neighborhood, like yoga culture or trendy eats or wine lovers. Like, I think that's really neat for the consumer to see. And then what also is really cool is commute times. So from this neighborhood, on commute times, if you have a client that says, I want to be 25 minutes from work, under the commute times, you would add a place. And I wish I knew an address for somewhere downtown Dallas. Like, let's try 123 Main Street. I don't know. Let's see if this does anything. Let's go with 123 Main Street in Garland. So let's say they work at 123 Main Street in Garland. If you put that in, it'll give you directions from the property to there. You can edit what that is, you can delete it. So that's really cool if you're trying to see like how far of a distance it is from their work or something like that. Biking, you could do the same thing, how far it would take to walk it. So those are pretty neat. It also has the nearby schools with their rankings, or if they're not available, as well as private schools. And then places. Now these places are, see at the bottom where it's saying the reviews are coming off of Yelp. So it's integrated with Yelp. So these are highlights, but you could do just the grocery stores. Or you could do nightlife. Whatever is there. And really, you as a realtor aren't going to be using that very much, but it's just really nice for the consumer to have additional information for them to work at. And then because I clicked on Bent Trail, as you can see at the top, then it's gonna, at the very bottom, it's gonna show all the homes that are for sale within Bent Trail. And you can view all and see that. Now, let me show you, let's click on an actual house within Bent Trail. So you have the information on the house and you have the photos, which are great. I have noticed that on some listings, the photos take a little bit longer to load than others, and it might be the size of the photos or just maybe the amount of traffic that's on the internet right now. But this is very what we are used to. It has, the photos, the price, square footage, bath, address, etc. And then you can save and hide and share, and I'll get into that in a second, but let's keep talking about the rest of the features of the property itself. There's the description of the home, and they just click on read more to see more about the description of the home. Who the listing is made by, because that's a Texas requirement, so it's done by Allie Beth on this one. And then it gets into more details about the house. So price per square footage, year built, lot size, parking, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And then it gets into, here's Bent Trail, the neighborhood, and if you hit that explore button, that's when it takes us to what we were just looking at, that was the whole neighborhood. Let me go back to the house itself. And then it's showing the market stats for the neighborhood and what locals say. What I like really, that I think is really cool, once you click on the individual house, if you are showing like a millennial or an empty nester couple that want to live in Uptown because they want to walk to everything, it has the walkability score. So like in this particular house, there isn't a whole lot nearby that you can walk to. So it's saying your walkability is only 42%, so you're pretty car dependent when you live there. So that's pretty neat information. And then from here, when you're actually on the house, it's giving you drive times from the house itself to those particular locations that you had set up. So like if they worked at 123 Main Street in Garland, it would take them 21 minutes from that house. And then again, it talks about the schools, the private schools, if there's any upcoming open houses. And then once you're on the individual page about a particular house, you can put in here mortgage information. So if you paid $764, or I'm gonna lowball and do $700, you know, then you can hit apply and see what those payments look like, which I think is really cool as a consumer. You don't have to go to another app. You don't have to pull out a calculator. Like it's all right there within the app itself, which I think will be really, really helpful. When I was just recently looking for a home, I used the Keller app, and I thought that was really helpful. And you can also change the amount down. So instead of 20%, maybe you just want to put 10%. So it'll change all that. What's also really neat, if you decide to have your buyer work with Keller Mortgage, there's that option to click on it. And by clicking on it, you know, you have to, it'll give you the disclosures and all that kind of stuff, but you just want to say accept, you read it. And then it starts to play a video about Keller Mortgage. I won't play it. Did it just take away my screen?
Yes.
Let me get back to it. Okay. And then you can also click on Keller Covered. So Keller Covered is all the home insurance options that would be available for the house. Now, if I'm an agent, or no, I'm sorry, if I'm the consumer and Tommy's my agent, and I'm like, gosh, Tommy, I really like this house. There's a few options that as a consumer you can do. So let me click on the house again. So what we can do as a consumer is you can save it. So save it to my favorite collections, and I hit save. Come on. Now Tommy, see, it'll come up on my screen in a second, or it should. Kelly will notify you from your phone that somebody has liked a property. So you get immediately notified. And of course, when we're doing this live, Kelly hasn't popped up yet, but she will in a second. So keep an eye out for it. So Kelly's going to notify me that I have a client that's liked a property. So now when clients are going through liking properties, you will be able to, so it's very similar to when we are using the MLS search tool, like the MLS auto email, whenever it emails people and they favorite it or they dislike it. This is really, really similar to that. So when they like it, you're going to be notified. And when you go into command under them in contacts, you'll be able to see which properties they save. Or if you're the consumer, let me do a different property because I don't think you can. Let's try this one. I don't know if you can save it and then hide it. But let's say this one. Come on, buddy. If I really don't like that property, then I can hit hide. And now when I hit hide, see how it's now red? That's no longer going to show up in my searches or the map when I'm still looking at that neighborhood, because now it's hidden because I knew that I didn't like the property. The other two things you can do to the right of hide is when you hit share. You can share this to your partner or your parents, your spouse, whatever. Check this property out. So if I want to share it with Marjorie, share property, this is what it's going to go to. And a real plug, if you guys can read my text to Marjorie, my last one, Lindsay and Denton are interviewing Keith Hall about the PPP, the small business loan that we're all qualified for. I don't want to say that doesn't mean you'll get it. I really don't know a ton about it, but go to Lindsay and Denton's Facebook pages at 3:30 today. They're interviewing Keith Hall about that. If you have time, I think that's going to be really beneficial. Anyways, a plug for Lindsay and Denton on that. Or if I'm a consumer, I want to ask my agent questions about this house. Down at the bottom, you can say ask question. You can type in what's up with this house. And then again, you'll be notified via Kelly that you have a question that popped up, or somebody's asking about the house. See, there it is, agent site notification. If you click on that, because you're the agent, it doesn't show you, you have to click on notifications up on the top right in Kelly, because that's how we get notified. See here, it says new contact from message received from Nick Kline. Well, of course, it's my app, so it's gonna say my name. But if Sally was my client, then it's a new contact from message received from Sally. So if you click on view, unfortunately, it does not show the property that they like yet. This is what's coming very, very soon. But when you get that message via Kelly, you need to go to command, and then I'll go to Sally's system within command, and I'll show you that here in a second. I know we're kind of running out of time, but I'll show the messages that have been coming in from Sally on the different houses. So that's really cool. And I will definitely show you that in just a second. But those are the different options once you're the consumer, your client's been looking around at the houses like that.
Hey, Nick.
Yeah.
I have to go to another Zoom class, but I have two quick questions if you don't mind. One is when I open the app, the first screen that pops up says KW, sign up or log in. And I always just close that screen. What is that screen?
So that's if somebody brand new gets the app, they would sign up to use the app. So if you have somebody in your open house that you send the app to, they need to sign up. So they put in their information, their email address specifically, and hopefully they fill out the rest of the information, but then they are able to use that app and they automatically get put into your database in command.
Okay, so since I'm getting it and I have the app, am I supposed to log in or do I just close it?
You just close it. So agents, it'll say for us to log in or sign up. Just, it does continue to say that, but you as an agent don't have to worry about that when it's on your end.
Okay,
so you already signed up.
But once my client has signed up, they're not going to get that screen anymore. Right?
Exactly, right.
Okay, and my second question is, how do you share the app from within the app? So let's say I'm out somewhere.
Yeah, I haven't gotten there yet, but I'm about to get there.
Okay,
and since you got to go, we'll jump there first.
Yeah, please do.
Okay, I'll show this real quick. So feed isn't doing anything right now. It's in the bottom left, but it will soon. That's what Eddie has told me. If you click on guide, this is where I'm, as a buyer, what we were doing when we were setting up the buyer guide and the seller guide, this is where that information is. So the start search would be the first option that we were doing. And when you click on it, you can say mark step as completed. There's a lot more information about it. And you do want to go in when you set up your app through command to set that up. But the consumer would just say mark as completed. And then you're notified, okay, they've done that first step. So now as a buyer, okay, now I know my next step is to get pre-approved. Then I approve that. And then my next step is tour homes with my agent. Or if you're selling a house, that's the guide for that. Showing your home, maybe the first step should be preparing your home, that kind of thing. And then to the right of that, saved, this is pretty self-explanatory. This shows all the properties that me as a consumer has saved, which is great. That's really pretty self-explanatory. To the right where it says NKU, so that's my initials and you, when a consumer, it'll say their initials. So you, as a Keller Williams agent, this is the third way that you can share the app.
Whoa, wait, how did you get?
Just where it says you on the bottom right hand.
Oh, okay. Oh.
If you click on that, it'll say share the KW app.
Perfect.
So by clicking on that, you can message it to whoever. So again, if you're an open house, oh, give me, and Shalina does this. Well, let me, give me your phone number and I'll send you all the information on this house, which they do. So then she texts them the app. So now that they're in her command for the app. So when you click on that, here's the preset text that's set up to be used. And now I would change this before you go and send it. And it says, I use a KW app to search for homes with my realtor, Nick Kline. Now, the reason it says this is because Keller Williams is not assuming that you as the agent are sharing this app. They're assuming your client is sharing it to their friends and family. So that's the reason why it's written this. So if Tommy was my buyer and Tommy was sending it to his wife, this is why the reason why it says this. I use the KW app to search for homes with my realtor, Nick Kline. Like, so it's helping you as the realtor promote you. Now, when you're sending this as the realtor, of course, you want to probably change this. Like, hey, here's my great app. Can't wait for you to use it, Nick Kline, or whatever. So you do want to maybe change that around before you send it.
Sidebar?
Yeah.
What I learned in another class is if you go into your notes on your
Yep.
phone notes, you can have a pre-printed, yeah, kind of like that.
Yep.
And then, all right, talk about that.
Yeah, I think that's really, and you can always have this saved so you can copy it. But the other thing is, Sally, if you just don't even want to go to your app to share it, like I just showed you how to do by hitting that share the KW app. Let's say I'm just going to send you a direct message. So Sally, what is your telephone number?
972 343 8030.
8030. Okay.
Yep.
So let's say, Sally, I just met you at an open house and I want to send an app to you. I have gone in my phone and done it's called an app short or a text shortcut. So if I type the word app like that down here in the bottom where it was just grayed out, I can click on that and now it has that automatically set up. So I can send it to you.
Oh, you're so smart.
So what you want to do is you want to Google, because I'm not sharing my screen with you right now.
I got it, just so you know.
You want to Google and write this down, how to use text shortcuts on iPhone or Android. How to use text shortcuts on iPhone or Android. And that's going to show you the instructions on how I just do this. When I type in app, that it's shared with you. Okay? So I don't really have time to explain exactly how to do that, but that'll show you exactly how to do that. So I would prefer to use this method than the method of going on here and hitting this share the KW app, because every time I do that, I have to go in here and change the wording each time. But this is really good for when your clients share it to their friends and family. It's already set up for them to share it. Okay, what else is under this NKU that's on the bottom right-hand side is just the history. So the history of homes that you've viewed or that you've liked or hidden. My account, so their profile, their phone number, stuff like that. If they want to change their password, if they want to add more places to see the distance from how far it is from the house to whatever that distance is. And then if they want to provide feedback to Keller Williams, they could do that there. If they want to add a co-buyer, so like, again, if Tommy and his wife are looking for homes, this is where Tommy could put in the co-buyer's email address. So now the co-buyer and Tommy are sharing properties together. So anytime Tommy will save a house, then the co-buyer sees that saved house in their profile as well. I thought that was really smart and ingenious of them to do as well. That's pretty self-explanatory. Your agent, so this is going to be about you whenever they have you set up as their agent. So it talks about you, and you as a realtor, this information here is coming from Command. You want to make sure, and I'm pretty sure all of us have this information set up now, but that's where that's pulling from. They can contact you, contact by phone, cancel. They can change the agent. And I know that there's some kickback on this, but the reason that they have to change the agent is because once you maybe sell their house or buy their house here in Dallas, maybe they move to Seattle, so they don't technically need you as their agent in the app now. Maybe they need their agent that's in Seattle. So that's the reason that they have that in there. Share the KW app, which is what we've done, and then legal and sign out. Okay, real quick, I'm gonna unshare my screen so I can show you. Stop share, hold on. Share screen. Whenever, can you see my screen? Oh. Tommy, can you see my screen?
I can, yes.
Okay. So
It's good.
when I went in there and I asked the question to the agent, so when people go in there and they ask you that question, up here on the top right, see how there's the red, which means you've been notified, there's activity. Let me scroll this down. So new contact from message received from Nick Kline. So if you click on it, it's going to take you to the contact and then what kind of question or what activity they've done within the app. So this is how the messages, when clients message you through the app, this is how you're going to see what messages have been sent to you. So I said, what's up with this house? That's where you see the message coming from the client directly to you. Or if they've saved properties, this is where you see that. So up here where it says, right now we're looking at all the activity that the client's done. If you click on all activity again, and you see saved neighborhoods or favored listings, this is where that'll show. Now I do have to tell you, Eddie told me that they were working on the favorited listings this week. That's why it's blinked out at the moment. Last week it wasn't blinked out, it had all the favorite listings, but right now it is blinked out, so just realize that's going on. So that's how you see messages. Okay, any questions? I know we're right at 2 o'clock, but we can definitely stay on for a few minutes to answer any questions you guys have.
Can you see your chat box, Nick?
Yeah, I was able to pull it up. Shouldn't she sign up since she shares the clients, it will show her as an agent? Meaning, yes, you only do that the first time, but for some reason, some agents were still having that as a continuation of an issue, and I'm not sure why. But if you as an agent, when you log on to your app, you don't always have to sign up or log in. It's done at once. But as an agent, you just do the sign up once. Info, thanks for clarification on common questions. Got it. Thanks for Tommy. Thanks for Tommy. Great job. Okay.
Hey, Nick, real quick, yes. This is Laura.
Hi, Laura.
Couldn't the new agents go in and enter themselves as a contact and practice on themselves?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Thank you.
And they should.
Yes.
And here's the thing, like go in and play with it.
Yes.
Because you're not going to break it.
Right.
Go in and play
well,
with it.
I might, but.
Go in and play with the app. The app is really great. The consumer will love it. They are loving it. My consumers have loved it. 2 other things. Next week, we're going over smart plans. So make sure you tune in for that. And then today at 3:30, if you can log on to Lindsay or Denton's page, they're going to be talking about the PPP with our own CPA, Keith Hall. So you might want to check that out too if you have time today.
Hey, Nick?
Yes, sir.
If we wanted to share that 3:30 with people outside of our market center, is that possible?
I don't know. I think, oh, well, yeah, I think so. I was on a call earlier with Lindsay and she said to hop onto it. So yeah, I don't know if it's like, I think you may have to be friends with
Walking Dead on the street?
What's that? I didn't hear you, Chance. Say it again.
I'm just curious if anybody's seen any Walking Dead on the street yet.
Right? Maybe.
What's Lindsay's last name?
Lindsay's last name is Knight.
K-N-I,
Yeah,
K-N-I-G-H-T.
like a night.
Okay.
Or Denton Guam. I think it'll go in his page too. I'm not real sure, but it'll be somewhere.
Lindsay Jones Knight. Okay.
Yeah,
Got it.
Lindsay Knight, and it will be live. Link is on her Facebook page. Let me, Denton's page will be tagged too. Let me see if,
I am friends with him.
yeah, if you're friends with Lindsay, she'll friend you.
No, I was with Denton already.
Okay, thank you, Bonnie. That's very helpful. Okay, guys, well, if there's any other questions, reach out to Tommy. He'll be able to answer all your brilliant tech questions.
Yes, send them on after 5:30 tonight. You'll
Thank
have
you.
creative answers.
Yeah. Brock, I love your, like, somebody is, what is that, peeling your face back?
I don't know. I'm trying to play with it.
Oh, that's your face.
I know.
That's funny. Okay, guys, well, have a great rest of your Friday.
Thanks, Nick.
Thank you,
Thank
Tommy.
you.
Job.
See you later. Bye.
Bye.